Today, we visit a boutique organic farm that has a focus on giving back to the community and looking after the land. We meet with Michelle, who's the landowner, and also Rachel, who specialises in regen ag and bush regeneration.
My name's Michelle and I own the property here at Raven Place and I run the Japanese food van.
So how did this all come about?
We used to live in Cabarita Beach, which is sort of 10 minutes on the coastline, and I always drove past this property and I loved the north facing hill and just loved how the whole property looked. They had a veggie shack on the property already and I always envisioned it being something more. Love the Clothiers Creek, which actually runs through the property. So that's how I fell in love with the property and I could just see it having potential.
And when did you purchase the property?
January 2022.
And how big is the property?
It's 6 acres.
How much has this changed since you bought it?
In 2022, it was just empty farmland, lots of overgrown areas. It did have a lot of fruit trees. We just came in and just got rid of all the scrub, all the bushes, all the weeds and all the wire that was everywhere, and just to clean up the property to start from scratch.
What was the initial vision when you bought this property? Could you see where the food van was going? Is that what you had you planned everything that has gone on, or is there so much that's kind of come out of it from that?
Before we bought it, I could just see the veggie shack as having more potential. The previous owners weren't allowed to sell food and tea and coffee from the actual veggie shack. You had to have it in a food van. Like, I love Japanese food, love fermenting. I could see all these foods I wanted to be able to make and share with the community, but you weren't able to do it in the current state that they were doing it. Yeah, we purchased a food van and I just saw potential, just started with a few items and we've eventually grown into cooking karaage chicken in tallow and doing all our fermenting and everything in the food van.
Now, why Japanese?
My husband's Japanese. I moved to Japan when I was 19, and spent 4 years there. Met my husband back then and I just love eating Japanese food, and my mother-in-law was amazing, made everything from scratch. So I just learnt everything I could in the 4 years I was there, and then I became a flight attendant for Qantas, and so I was in Japan nearly every week or every fortnight. So everything I loved, I just learnt how to make the sauce and how to do everything from scratch, and the fermenting and the different types of things. I just had a passion for it.
So I see you've got some chickens, you've got bees, and I see you've actually got eggs in the stall. So how does that all work?
Love chickens. I wanted a feature of our little place to be people can always get eggs from us because we ferment in the caravan. I was always feeding the chickens our fermented food. Commercial chickens, you can only feed them one kind of food. Even if they're pasture raised, you're not allowed to give them scraps and things. So I wanted our chickens to be eating our scraps, eating our healthy scraps of the fermented food, turmeric and garlic and
most spoiled chickens I've ever heard of eating kimchi.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's how we sort of got a name for our eggs. They were out on this area before the garden was planted. So it was great. They fertilised the soil and they dug it all up, and wherever we had the caravan was our most fertile place when we did our cover crop. You could clearly see the sections which had the caravan and which didn't.
That's really cool that you've got bees on the property.
Yes, and so we thought that the bees would be amazing to pollinate all the plants as well as get all the amazing honey. Bob is our beekeeper.
Bob the beekeeper,
and he looks after a few different hives around the area for other people.
And do you sell the honey in the shop as well? Oh,
yes.
How good.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty much get everything you need here, right?
Yes. As we've been growing, we got busier and busier, and I've just sort of segmented the business down. So a friend, Toki, she does Toki & Co Collective, she does the veggie shack. So she takes care of all the plants and all the decorations inside there. I do the food van and Rachel doing the garden, and could see this as a space, to bring in collaboration and to let other people have a little space for their passions to grow as well.
So Rachel, what is it that you do here on the farm?
So I am the farm manager here, so I look after the intensive market garden, the food forests and the bush regeneration. So I take over, I'm more of managing the holistic element of the property.
Amazing. Yeah. And what do you have growing here at the moment? It's beautiful.
So we've got a lot growing. So as you can see, tarragon, dahlias, sage, rosella, ginger, Madagascar beans, basil, tomato, cucumber, okra, cosmos, zinnias. I've got rock melon. I focus a lot on polycropping systems. So you'll kind of see in each different bed that there's a whole heap of different species growing. Zucchini, tomatoes. I could keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
like there's a lot growing.
And what was it, the polycropping? I haven't heard of that before.
So polycropping, so having lots of different species growing in one bed. So, I mean, everyone's got their own approach to farming, but for me personally, I find having a primary canopy species growing in my intensive market garden is a really great way to foster biodiversity. So I'll have the main system growing. So in this bed, it's cucumber, okra, and then down there we've got eggplant, which is running down the middle. So that's my primary canopy species. And then I'll run your support species. So in that bed there, it's basil. On the back here, I've got dianthus and statice. And then underneath the okra, I've got warrigal greens growing. So I try and focus a lot on having lots of different species in one space, because that's going to increase the biodiversity in the soil microbiome.
And with this produce, where does that end up?
So our primary goal is to grow all of our produce to sell in the veggie shed where Michelle has her cafe. And then we do have 2 dedicated growing spaces, which is given to the community centre. So that's given to families in need. So that's the 2 avenues at the moment. Ideally, we're going to get to a point where we can start selling with my complementary species that I grow, something like calendula I can grow en masse, which we can then sell to local herbalists to make their own calendula, and medicinal herbs in that space as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you do a bit of regenerative agriculture. Why do you do that, and what is it?
Okay, so there's no specific definition around what regenerative agriculture is. So it's kind of more defined on what you feel it is when you're working on your farm. So for me, regenerative agriculture is utilising farming as a tool to improve the quality of the land and using farming as a tool. So for us, it's things like cover cropping that can increase carbon sequestration. The bush regeneration for me is a key element of regenerative agriculture, because it's another way of like increasing biodiversity in the space and kind of giving back to Mother Earth when we're using farming on site as well. We're both organic and regenerative, so we're completely chemical free, and we focus primarily on improving soil health, which then improves plant health and nutrient density, and we've got more flourishing crops. Because I love it, it doesn't feel like work. Like, I'm very blessed to be working in a role that brings me so much joy every day. So this is our bush regeneration zone. We were really lucky that we got a grant from Tweed Shire Council. They gave us $4,000 to do a style of bush regeneration. So it's myco-regen. It's with a local not-for-profit called We Forest Earth. And we use endemic strains of mycelium, so edible and medicinal mushrooms, to phase out woody weeds.
Yeah, wow.
And so it's kind of a really great way to rebalance an ecosystem without the use of toxic chemicals, essentially. And so we've got some great examples here. So you can have a look. We've ring-barked these specimens and we've inoculated. And we come through and we manage it. And this will eventually kill the tree. And then the mushrooms that we inoculate will start digesting this biomass. These ones over here, before I started managing the property, they've been chemically injected. So and you can tell just by looking at them, like there's no life to it, like it's just dead.
Yeah.
Whereas these, like, because we're doing that slow canopy transfer, we're still kind of keeping the ecosystem functioning and allowing it to transition, rather than something like that where you get that really fast canopy drop, you get that sudden weed burden flush underneath, and then generally speaking, what would happen is there'd be more chemical spray. None of the native seed bank in there is going to be able to take off because you just kill it. We're in the process of regenerating at the moment, and we're going to have a planting day in March where we get to plant 500 trees, and the community gets to come in and they get to help us and be a part of this journey. We'll come through and replant all along this edge here, and then going all the way down the back to the edge of the property, so that this whole area here is going to be, ideally, it does take a bit of time to manage the weeds, but we'll take out all of the understory, start revegetating with native grasses and native understory plants, and then some mid-strata species, and then get those canopy species back up. I believe as custodians of the land, so for any land that we buy, we do have an environmental responsibility to leave the land better than how we found it.
This project isn't about money for us, it's about community and giving back, and for everyone to be happy and healthy. But thank you so much for having us on the property, on the farm. It's been really cool to see everything around here. I think one thing I was saying to both yourself and Rachel is, like, there's so much more than meets the eye. Like, when you first turn up here, I think you've got the patch here, you've got the shed, you've got the food, but you know, doing bush regen over here and you know, food forests up there, and yeah, it's crazy. So I really appreciate you showing us around, and I'm really excited to see what you've got coming up next.
Yes.
It sounds like that whole hill is going to be filled with food.
Yes.